Imagine this. You've spent years building your life in the UK, you've paid your taxes, followed the rules, and now you're finally ready to take that final step applying for British citizenship. But what if one mistake from your past, something you believed was buried long ago, suddenly came back to block your path? As of 2025, the rules around citizenship have undergone major changes, particularly the good character requirement. And these changes are not minor. They're far reaching and could affect thousands of applicants in ways never seen before. Welcome to this in depth breakdown. In today's video, we're going to walk you through everything you need to know about the updated guidance and what it could mean for your application. Whether you're applying this year or considering it in the near future, this information is crucial. For those unfamiliar with the process, one of the central challenges in the journey to citizenship, especially for anyone over the age of 10, is proving that they are of good character. But here's the catch. The law doesn't clearly define what good character actually means. The British Nationality Act of 1981 offers only a broad framework. The real meaning comes from Home Office guidance issued to caseworkers who assess each application. And on February 10, 2025, that guidance was revised, introducing some of the most significant policy shifts in recent memory. These updates could disproportionately affect many groups, including refugees, and may now disqualify individuals from ever becoming British citizens, even if they've lived here for years. So what's changed? And how might it affect you in 2025? We'll break it all down for you. First, we'll look at the old criteria, then examine the updated rules. We'll also explore how these changes impact minor infractions, like traffic offenses, unresolved debts, and perhaps most importantly, how you first arrived in the UK. Let's begin by reviewing what the good character test has traditionally involved. Contrary to what many think, it's not just about having a clean criminal record. The Home Office evaluates a wide range of factors to assess your overall conduct. Firstly, your criminal history is examined thoroughly. This includes not just serious convictions, but also minor infractions like cautions, warnings, and fixed penalty notices. Secondly, your financial responsibility is considered. This means your tax history, bankruptcy filings, or any significant unpaid debts. Even something like an NHS debt over £500 can raise serious concerns. Third, integrity is a major concern. Any past dishonesty or deception, such as providing false information on a visa application or benefits claim, could lead to immediate refusal. In some cases, it could even result in a 10-year ban from reapplying. Lastly, immigration compliance is scrutinized. This includes any visa overstays or violations of work conditions. Even if these were minor or unintentional, they can still weigh heavily against your application. Historically, these assessments involved some level of discretion. Caseworkers could evaluate each situation based on its unique circumstances. However, the February 2025 update marks a sharp shift, dramatically reducing that discretion in at least one particularly controversial area, and that's the most critical part of today's discussion. On February 10, 2025, the UK Home Office released updated guidance that introduces a significant change in how applications for British citizenship are assessed, particularly for those who originally entered the country without legal permission. Let's begin with the official language, which carries enormous weight. From the 10th of February 2025 onwards, any applicant who previously entered the UK illegally will normally be refused citizenship regardless of how much time has passed since that entry. This marks a major shift in policy. Until now, the rules, especially those introduced in 2022, offered some flexibility. If someone had entered the UK illegally but had since lived responsibly, obtained indefinite leave to remain, and kept a clean record for over a decade, their earlier immigration breach could be overlooked. In other words, there was a path to redemption. But with this new guidance, that door has essentially been shut. Now, for anyone applying after February 10, 2025, the passage of time no longer works in your favor. Whether you cross the border 12, 15, or even 20 years ago, that original act of illegal entry will typically result in your application being refused. What's more, the new policy adds a separate clause specifically targeting dangerous or unauthorized routes of entry, such as arriving by small boat across the channel or being smuggled into the UK in a vehicle. If you entered this way and did not have valid entry clearance at the time, your application for citizenship will also normally be denied. This change carries serious consequences, especially for refugees. Many asylum seekers are forced to flee their countries without the luxury of proper documentation or advance permission. Historically, once they were granted refugee status and had lived in the UK legally for several years, they could eventually apply for citizenship. Under this updated framework, however, their route to citizenship could now be permanently blocked. The language used, normally refused, does leave some room for discretion, but it's limited. The guidance does allow for exceptions in highly unusual circumstances. One example provided involves someone who entered illegally 14 years ago, was later identified as a victim of human trafficking, and granted refugee status. In such rare and complex cases, citizenship might still be granted, but the threshold is extremely high. So, what does this mean for applicants in 2025? Let's turn to the broader good character requirement, which remains a central part of the application process. First, we must talk about criminal history. In July 2023, the bar for refusal based on criminal offenses was already raised. If you've received a custodial sentence of 12 months or more, your application will almost certainly be rejected. But what about less serious matters like speeding tickets or parking fines? According to the Home Office, fixed penalty notices alone usually won't lead to refusal unless they are frequent or you failed to pay, leading to criminal proceedings. However, there's an important caveat. Everything must be declared. Even if a conviction is spent, failing to disclose it can be considered deception, a far more serious issue that could automatically disqualify your application. And while a single minor offense might not derail your application, a pattern of repeated low-level infractions can be interpreted as evidence of disregard for the law, which is another reason for refusal. So let's be clear, getting one speeding ticket probably won't ruin your chances. But if you've racked up 5 in just 2 years? That's a different story. Now let's turn to another critical area: your finances. The Home Office expects applicants to demonstrate financial responsibility. Carrying some debt isn't necessarily a deal breaker, especially if you're actively repaying it. But there are warning signs that could raise serious concerns. Have you ever been declared bankrupt? Were you a director of a company that ended in liquidation? Or have you recklessly taken on large debts without any means to pay them off? Any of these could be interpreted as signs of poor character, and they might negatively impact your application. And here's one point that cannot be overstated: pay your taxes. Unpaid tax liabilities are a major red flag for caseworkers. The UK government shares data across departments, so inconsistencies or past issues are not hard to uncover. Did you once underreport income on a benefits application? Did you slightly exaggerate your credentials on an old visa form? These things don't just disappear. They can and often do resurface. Deliberately hiding information is seen as a direct reflection of your character, and in most cases, it will lead to an automatic refusal. So, how do you protect your application and give yourself the best possible chance of success? Here's a practical, step-by-step approach. Conduct a personal history audit before you even open the application form. Take time to review your complete history in the UK. Collect documentation related to any past criminal, civil, financial, or immigration matters. Treat this like an investigation, because that's exactly how it will be assessed. Declare everything, no exception, when it comes time to fill out your application. Don't leave anything out, no matter how minor it may seem. A spent conviction, mention it. A fixed penalty notice, include it. It's always better to be upfront than to risk being caught in a lie. One small omission can be seen as intentional deception, which carries far more serious consequences than the issue you were trying to hide. Explain. Don't just list if you have any blemishes in your past, a caution, unpaid fine, or an immigration overstay. Don't just report it and hope for the best. Address it head on, write a clear cover letter that explains what happened, when, and why. Offer context and show how your life has changed since. Examples like long-term employment, community service, or good conduct can help demonstrate growth and responsibility. This is how caseworkers assess applications on the balance of probabilities. Your job is to help tip the balance in your favor. Sort out your finance, make sure your tax records are up to date. If you have significant debts, ensure you're actively repaying them. And if you owe anything to the NHS, settle it before you apply. Unresolved financial obligations can and will be used against you. Seek professional advice if your case involves any complications, such as a previous illegal entry, even from decades ago. Don't go it alone. Consulting a qualified immigration solicitor can give you a clear, realistic view of your chances. Under the current, stricter guidance. In 2025, the path to British citizenship has become narrower and more demanding. The recent updates to the good character requirement, particularly the new stance on illegal entry, reflect a much tougher position from the government. It's a strong signal that past immigration breaches, which were once overlooked after years of lawful residence, may now become permanent disqualifiers. So, what are the key takeaways? The Home Office is examining every detail of your history. Illegal entry into the UK, regardless of how long ago, can now permanently block your path to citizenship. Honesty and full disclosure aren't just good practice. They are essential. It's understandable if this all feels overwhelming, but being well-informed gives you the best chance of success. Know the rules, be thorough, and get help when needed. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more updates on UK immigration and citizenship law. Got a question? Drop it in the comments. We'll do our best to guide you. Thanks for watching.